All right. Hey, guys. Welcome in to an all new episode of the Wagers on Campus College Football Podcast. Thank you so much for checking us out. We're going to be talking Mountain West football on today's episode. Appreciate you checking us out. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. This is Alex Mayer, and I am here with Xander per usual. And Burns, it's good to see you, man. And I'm excited to be talking some Mountain West today.
Hello. Very good to see you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've got one of the front runners for the college football playoff and everyone's favorite West Coast group of five team for the last year. So we're going to be looking at a very different Mountain West next year. So looking forward to breaking it down for what it is. And yeah, AAC will be tomorrow. And I can't wait. We're almost to the big boys.
We're almost to the big boys, and as we record on July 24th, we are about 1 month away from week 0 college football getting kicked off here soon. Burns, before we jump in, I'm curious, you as a golf guy, have you heard or watched the show Stick on Apple Plus?
No, I've not.
So it's with Owen Wilson. Did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
I would say it has Ted Lasso vibes.
Okay.
And it is a golf show.
So not a Happy Gilmore like ripoff.
No. Basically Owen is mentoring a young golf prodigy.
Oh, okay.
Really good. Each episode's like 35 minutes, just 10 episodes. You can rip it, in a short period of time. I'd recommend it.
Okay. I'll take that into consideration for February because Happy Gilmore 2, which comes out tomorrow, might be the last piece of non-football media I consume for the next 5.5 months.
How does your significant other feel about that?
Well, she's one of the worst ever at committing to shows. So that's not a tough bridge to cross there.
Wow. Feel like you might be in the minority with that, but sounds like you're in a good spot.
She'll just have the Dateline 24/7 Peacock channel on all the time. And yeah, that's all. And she's watching The Guild right now. And I said, does anyone else watch that show that you're like catching up and so you can chat with? And she's like, no one else in the friend watches.
My mom does. They need the text.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like that type of show. It's been on downstairs what I've been cooking the last couple nights, and it's not one of those situations where you're just kind of lingering and you're like, oh, maybe I will get into this. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Bridgerton. And the last show that I'll plug before we talk football, you see 4 Seasons on Netflix with Steve Carell?
No.
I'd recommend that one too. It's 8 episodes. Each episode is 30 minutes. You can rip it in an afternoon.
Okay. Just a 4-hour movie.
4-hour movie, baby.
Okay, interesting.
So, moving forward, today we're talking Mountain West football. Burns, where do you want to start as we begin our pod today?
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a bit of a robbery on the podcasting front this week. Time magazine came out with the top 100 podcast of all time. Unfortunately, they don't like winners because we were nowhere to be found on that list.
Huh.
Maybe we'll be on the 2026 list, but I don't know how many more times I can give out 2/3% of the time winners and not be recognized by the entire nation.
Yeah, Burns is a 66% winning better when it comes to MAC football picks. So I agree. That should at least be recognized as top 50 by time.
I mean, what do you know? Liberal media rag once again, just forcing its own narrative and not supporting true hardworking Americans like myself and you.
Yeah, the author probably drives an electric car. Um, what else is on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, now we're starting to heat up. Now all the conferences are wrapping up their media weeks. I mean, unfortunately, we're recording AAC. I think it's about to get underway. And there was an interesting point brought to us by Dan Lanning, of all people, noted dickweed, Dan Lanning, and blowhard, for lack of better terms. But he said, let's get rid of week 0. Let's push up the entire season. Let's get rid of the month-long bye. The more games we can get, the quicker in. Let's finish basically right in the first week of January. This guy's spitting facts. He's spitting hot fire. I mean, this is exactly how the season should roll. We have 2 byes. I think that's a great amount. Clearly, the big gap was detrimental to the teams that were awarded the byes last year. And week 0, let's be honest, they're not doing anything with it. They're still putting fucking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday game and like one Sunday game, one Monday game in week 1. So I don't even know what the point of week 0 is for having 6 games where, your non college football psycho like us and our listeners are going to be watching these games.
Totally agree. I don't know what college football is thinking when it comes to week 0. Like, what's the point of having week 0 if you're only going to have 6 games and 5 of those 6 games are obscure and weird? Only one of them is like an actual marquee matchup that many people will be tuning into. And even that game, Kansas State, Iowa State, it's not that big of a game.
The coastal elites are going to be snoozing at that game. Like
Right.
no one on either coast is going to be tuning in for the flyover game.
Exactly.
But we will for Farmageddon.
We will. But yeah, Burns, I mean, obviously the break hurt Oregon last year, but it also can't be used as an excuse. Like, Ohio State had a break too.
Well, yeah, but not just talking about him. All 4 teams that had a bye lost. So it was like, clearly the rest versus rust. It's edging on rust. I mean, out of all the big sports that have playoffs, that 23-week layoff that's massive. That is humongous.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to give an extra week, obviously it's fine, but 3 weeks is crazy.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, because like everyone had a decent amount of time off, but then Ohio State got to play just the week before, so they got kind of the rust off.
Yeah, like 10 days before. And 3 weeks you can argue is long enough to kind of, the body kind of loses game speed. Because all you can do is practice, and you cannot risk an injury in practice. So you're practicing without pads and doing walkthroughs, and it's like game speed all of a sudden. And guess what happened? I mean, not every game got punched in the mouth, but pretty much the Arizona State Texas game was the only kind of reasonable matchup in that second round.
True. Yeah, fair point. I don't know what the solution is, but fair point.
And then NIL. Not really going to dive into what just happened before we started recording. Trump passed some executive order. Obviously, it has to get written into law, which doesn't look promising from my very short cliff notes. I mean, this literally just passed 20 minutes ago. But basically excluding bidding wars. They want exclusive brand partnerships. They don't want outside donors bidding on players, your Phil Knights, your Larry Ellisons, and focusing more on just paying the players their expected value. So we'll see what happens there. But this came up the other day in just passing conversation. Obviously it's just kind of old players are going to be like, yeah, we played, we were getting money under the table, but we weren't getting the NIL we were getting. I mean, if you're an old player, do you even donate back to the school now? Like those kids that are getting NIL from freshman year, it's like those should be the kids that are basically just putting it back into the NIL themselves.
Yeah. What are you asking exactly?
Yeah, like if you were a person that got if played basically for the love of the game and a few extra shekels here and there, and then now you see these kids bouncing around different schools, demanding, getting paid $2 million a year. Would you want to give back to your school when really these kids are already getting way further ahead than you did?
I guess it depends on how my own finances look. But yeah, I'm sure some people it rubs them the wrong way, and other people are like, look, my era was a different era, and I still want to support my school. So I know it's not the sexy answer, but I'm sure there's both sides to it.
I feel like it should be like, hey, we're going to get 10% of this NIL that we're promising you is just going to go back into the collective. So the number that's going to be seen is not the true number, but and then do what you want with that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, no further thoughts on it, really.
Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
all that stuff is kind of above my head, honestly.
Sure,
So,
above your pay grade.
right.
And then interesting notes. It seems like there's this weird conference war, and this is really annoying now with an expanded playoff. But Brett Lashley, and I'm not standing up for the SEC. And we pointed out, he's like, you look back at the last 25 years, there's only been 6 different conference champions in the SEC. That is the exact definition of top heavy. And he's not wrong. I'm just taken aback. Signetti was popping off about defending his schedule. SEC coaches were popping off about Big Ten schedules. Just thrown off by this, coaches taking shots at other conferences. It's getting to be like the teams are so insecure about not making the playoff and not focusing on the product on the field. It's the last thing I want to see is the product on the field getting punished because of all this talk of off the field scheduling bullshit. It's really annoying.
Do you think the product on the field could be punished because teams start to schedule lighter because they're pointing fingers at other teams who are scheduling light? Is that what you're saying?
Uh, I mean, who knows? Yeah, I mean that could be one of the faults. Rivalries between conferences. Maybe certain teams rub each other the wrong way. They refuse to schedule possible games moving forward because of certain actions taken by talking heads within the conference. They sour relationships. I think that would be more of a plausible um, kind of punishment for us as the fans, is not getting potential matchups versus the opposite of scheduling away. Because and the other thing about Signetti and this Indiana drama is like they're acting like Indiana has been like this powerhouse that Signetti came in and is just like, all right, let's rein back the schedule now. Indiana's been scheduling primetime games for decades. It's like he just came in and put him on the map immediately. Like let him build up and let him build an actual program instead of a flash in the pan. And then we could talk. I mean, yeah, it speaks for itself that it's a fucking weak schedule. But let's hold our horses on like, hey, who's Indiana played, and that's really my view on and everyone dogpiling Signetti right now.
Yeah, I think that's an extremely valid point. It's not as if we're talking about Michigan, who is known for, having cupcake schedules early on in the season. Granted, this year they finally scheduled a somewhat of a hard game early on, but
Yeah,
that hasn't been past tradition for them. They try to play the easiest teams possible, and even when they have, sometimes they lose to App State. So
Toledo.
Hmm?
And Toledo was there in attendance, 13-10.
Toledo beat Michigan?
Yeah, at the Big House, 13-10. Nick Moore still has the Big House receiving record with 21 receptions in a game.
Oh my God.
I think it was something absurd too, like maybe he crossed over, but I think it was like 97 yards on 21 receptions. He was just getting bubble screen after bubble screen after bubble screen. It was so funny.
20 catches, 162 yards.
Yeah, and the only touchdown from Toledo was a 101-yard interception return for a touchdown.
That's unbelievable. Were you at the game?
Yes, yeah. That was
Wow.
that was my freshman year of college at Toledo.
I can't believe I never knew that about you.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. It was very sick, Alex.
Toledo, Michigan, big house, and your team wins. That's insane.
Yeah. All right. Anything else in the news before we dive into the Mountain West?
No, on the college football landscape, I think we've covered the main headlines. So let's get into it.
Yeah, obviously, last year of the Mountain West, as we see it today, biggest transaction is going to be Boise State bouncing to the new Pac-12 8-team conference. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, don't want to get started on the Pac-12, but that has just been a shit show from the jump. This is just going to be Mountain West 2.0. Ah, man. We'll see if they keep an automatic bid. But like we did last week, we've got a graphic here because we got some preseason awards to hand out, Alex. Uh, class is going to be Boise. You're going to see that returning. Maddox Madsen, quarterback. I mean, had a studly year last year. He obviously is going to be missing, one key player standing next to him. Little guy named Ashton Genty
Standing next to him.
standing next to him. Thank you. Yeah, but outside of that, I mean, Boise's got not just in the conference, they've got a top 10 offensive line in the entire country. I mean, they've got some boys. They got guys. They got guys that are going to make my newcomer, or I'm sorry, offensive player of the year, Sire Gaines, look like an Ashton Genty 2.0. It's kind of a stretch. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman, but judging by the defense that's going to be put on the field in the conference, I think that Boise's going to be able to replicate, obviously not to the standard of like 2,600 yards on the ground, but I think this is a good enough talent that they're able to reload, and he's going to be able to grab my offensive player in the year of just where he's at. We have Chris Marshall. We talked about him a lot last year. The what was it? Last chance U type player, kicked out of Texas A&M, 5-star. Lands at Boise after a JUCO stint, and the kid's a freak. At 6'3". Matt Lawton, good players. We'll get into that when we talk about our preseason all conference team. But my newcomer of the year, it's going to be the winner of the quarterback battle for UNLV. Really need to dig into UNLV here in a couple minutes, but obviously a lot of changes. But Alex Orji,
Michigan.
Michigan, and Adam Colandrea, Virginia. Two middling quarterbacks. Obviously, one cannot throw the football, but is a incredible athlete. And then the other one can throw the football and has a little bit of legs, but his decision making is poor at best, to say the least. Maybe hangs on to it a little too long, a little bit like a Timu Manziel would be. No offense. From what we've seen on the field, obviously you can grow as a player. You improve your skill, and then Trey White, nation's leading sack man last year. I mean, just a stud. Sean Lewis's defense, I think, is going to turn a corner this year. Although they weren't very good, he is looking to get that program up and running again, and I think he will. Just we'll talk about that. But those are my preseason award winners. Thoughts before we dive into the all conference teams?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Maddox Batson, pretty standard pick. Defensive Player of the Year, Trey White, San Diego State. We'll see if, like you said, if San Diego State can return to some of their defensive prowess as they've been known to have over the last 10, 15 years. And as far as the winner of that UNLV quarterback battle, yeah, that's very interesting. And whoever wins it, then the question obviously becomes, can the UNLV scheme and coaches unlock the best of those players to maximize their potential? Because obviously both are pretty well known names across college football. Um, Boise State, yeah, they're going to be a power in the conference. The competition, in my opinion, isn't all too steep, especially based on the standard that Boise has set for themselves. And they had a lot of guys on our first team All Mountain West squad. So
Yeah, yeah, they really did. And it starts with Madsen and Gaines on offense, but they also add Matt Lauder, just an absolute freak at tight end, who's going to be a presence over the middle. Should be able to really eat in a conference that lacks really a secondary. We got three big hog mollies up front, representing their offensive line, and then Brandon Feely, along with Amarian McCoy. Nice little apostrophe in there on first team for two defenders that you're going to look out for when you're tuning into the designated Mountain West After Dark. This is where you're going to find your After Dark games. Thanks to the Big Ten for really ruining the Pac-12 After Dark.
yep. Well, Boise State, yeah, I mean, defensively, um, they're going to have to overcome the loss of Ahmed Hassanin, their star defensive end, who finished his college career with 24 sacks, third in Boise State history. He was drafted by the Lions in this last NFL draft, but they have enough. They have enough guys in addition to playing in a conference where I think they're going to be the favorite in just about every single game that they play. But curious to see what the defensive line looks like, especially without Hassanin. He was a really good player, and I believe he was a uh, first team all Mountain West 2 years in a row.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, they would rank high, if not leading, my group of five We Got Guys rankings. And I'll be publishing those for the first time next week. But, when you don't know these teams that you're watching, you got to know who's got guys. Who's making me want to watch this San Jose State Fresno game at 10 o'clock on Saturday more than just a bet? It's the We Got Guys teams. But going through Boise State's schedule here, do you see this, Alex?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they're at South Florida. What do we think about that game?
Well, that's an interesting way to start the year because Boise State last season started out the year at, was it Georgia Southern?
Yeah, shootout.
Real weird game.
Super
Gen-
weird.
Genty ran for like 7 touchdowns and like 400 yards.
It-
I would expect Boise to beat South Florida, but that is a very weird week 1 game, like Boise traveling to Florida. It's a little bizarre, but I'll go Boise.
yep. Obviously going to handle Eastern Washington at home. Uh, and then they go to Air Force. I think Air Force improves this year. They should still take care of Air Force. Obviously, a team that doesn't allow transfers, but see that. App State down. And then the big one, Notre Dame, at Notre Dame. This feels like when we talked about, Navy as a sleeper. This feels like I don't think they can beat this Notre Dame team, but it's how do you lose to keep your playoff hopes alive? Like, how well do you lose this game?
Yeah, I agree. I would go Notre Dame right now.
Yeah, New Mexico just rebuilding too much. That's just a home game that they should roll. UNLV is interesting, right? Huge question mark team. They remind me of the Colorado teams the last 2 years. Massive influx of transfers, new coach, new system. I'm not sure they have it together by week 8. I think it's still Boise. What about you?
I'd agree. I think by principle we got to give Boise the win here.
Yep. Nevada, Fresno, Boise, Boise. At San Diego State off a bye. Feels like a late game in the season where I'm high on San Diego State. Last like really tough road game in my eyes. I could see them dropping this when we cover it later in the season, but I think Boise wins.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you make a good point.
Colorado State should be a
Dub.
win. And then at Utah State to end. Any funny business going on here?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what we got. We got our uh 11-1, 8-0 in the conference. What do you know? Boise's representing one side of the Mountain West Conference Championship again.
I think going through that schedule, my prediction is they do lose another one of those games.
Yeah, 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think their team over under it's 9.5. So if we're right there, 11-1, 10-2, I think the over could be a quality bet to look at. Tough to see how this team gets to 9 wins, 9-3 on the season.
Losing to South Florida to start the year would be a bad sign.
That's a really good point. Really good point. Next team up, in my opinion, is going to be Dan Mullen, just because how well of a coach he is. We got 3 guys represented, 2 guys actually, in the first team, all conference with Jaden Thomas, UNLV, and then D lineman Jalen Lee. Listen, they have a couple guys that we have represented, on the O line, and then we just talked about their quarterback situation. That is going to be the biggest question mark. But really, it comes down to what type of scheme are they going to run? Are they going to, if they let Orgy take over, are they going to take a page out of old school West Virginia and just run like a speed option?
Exactly, because you have 2 different quarterbacks with 2 different styles. Very valid. You would hope that they would use Orgy to his strengths. Otherwise, you're setting the team up to fail.
Yeah. Yep. So why don't you run through the schedule here? We'll just kind of pop these off.
Okay. Do you have it pulled up, Burns, or is that something you need me to do?
Oh, sorry. Didn't click over on the share. Right in front of you.
All right. So UNLV starts their season at Sam Houston State. I think UNLV will win that one. Week 2, UCLA at UNLV. What do you think?
Just think UCLA with Deshaun Foster, second year. I just think he'll have a trending upwards team. I like UCLA.
Yeah, me too. They're going to beat Idaho State, and then they play at Miami of Ohio, which you like UNLV in both of those. Then they have the bye, and then they are at Wyoming. I would probably go Wyoming in this one.
Yeah, I think Wyoming is a sleepy team in the Mountain West that we'll talk about probably next 2. But yeah, Wyoming at home. They play different in Laramie, Alex.
They do. And then UNLV comes home and hosts Air Force. Who do you like?
Man, probably UNLV, but that Air Force team is scary. The more weeks of experience that team gets, and you never know off a tough loss to Wyoming, having to come home and face the triple option. That could definitely be a loss.
Sure.
I'll put it as a win, but that could definitely be a loss.
Okay. Next week, they play Boise State. We got Boise. Then UNLV has another bye. Then they host New Mexico. We like UNLV. Then they're at Colorado State. I'm going to go UNLV in that one too. Then they host Utah State. Give me UNLV. They host Hawaii. Give me UNLV. Got got on a little roll, and then they're at Nevada to end the season, and we'll go UNLV in that one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so that's 3 losses, 9-3 with potential 8-4. We think that there could be another loss there, possibly Air Force. What do you know? Their over/under is 8.5.
Wow.
Yep, so sitting right there. I would feel less confident about backing the over with that team.
Me too. That's a pretty steep number.
Yep,
for an unproven team.
Yep, way too many question marks. Next up, in my opinion, don't sleep on the San Jose State team. This team is returning a lot of good talent, ton of production. Danny Scudero obviously has big shoes to fill. Nick Nash leaving to the NFL.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Rivas at safety and one of the best names in the country, Gaga Faga, on the D line.
Yeah.
And then Delaney Latu, definitely butchered that name, at linebacker. So they got the Polynesians just ripping and roaring. Ripping and roaring. So I like I like their upside. I like a team that is sitting there at 7.5 wins. I like a team with a lot of returning talent. Walter Eget at quarterback. Listen, a lot of publications have him top 2 quarterback. Missed it in ours. Probably put him at the 4th team quarterback. But he's going to come back and obviously had plenty of success last year in the passing game. But, yeah, this team is what we would say as feisty, Alex, feisty.
Yeah, and they got a pretty cool stadium. I know they put a lot of money into that stadium.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's not much to do in that area besides, since all the other big teams are kind of further away now, right? The new stadiums.
Smoke weed and watch football.
Yep, pretty much.
All right. So going through San Jose State's schedule, they start the year hosting Central Michigan. We're going to go San Jose State. Then they are at Texas. We're going to go Texas in that one.
Loss, yeah.
Quick bye. They come home to host Idaho. We'll go with San Jose State. And then they are at Stanford the following week. Interesting game there. Who do you like?
You know what? You want to say Northern California upset here, but I think Stanford is another team that will just be better than they were last year, and they win games like this.
Yeah, it's a good call. Next week they host New Mexico. We like the Spartans, and then San Jose State at Wyoming. I think we got to go Wyoming here.
Yeah.
Then San Jose State at Utah State. I think we got to go Utah State, give them a win.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really tough schedule there. That's in 4 weeks, you got to go 3 road games. I know Stanford's right there. And, all obviously pretty close, but still, the travel and just prepping for travel weeks, that's pretty draining. So, yeah, it's a tough stretch in that schedule.
I agree. Then they have a bye. Then they host Hawaii. Do we like San Jose State there?
For sure.
Then they host Air Force. What do you think?
I like the Spartans.
Okay. And then San Jose State on the road at Nevada. We're going to give them a win. And then they are on the road at San Diego State. We're going to go with the Aztecs. And then Fresno State at San Jose State to end the year. I'd go Fresno. You could.
Oh, okay. So that's a toss-up too. So, yeah, 7-5. Yeah, it's sitting there at 7.5. That one tails towards the under. I don't know. I don't like the layout of their schedule, to be honest. That's the only downside. I like the upside of this team. They can easily prove us wrong. Nothing we say here is set in stone. So,
yep.
Next up from, let's see, where should we go? We should go to Laramie. Let's go to Wyoming. One represented here. Oh, sorry, switch it back. One represented, linebacker Gary Rutherford, but a couple other guys, 2 offensive linemen, and then a tight end, second team, John Michael Gillenborg. It's a good name to look for.
Yep.
Tice Westland, stud talent on defensive line, just can create havoc all year. So when we look at the Cowboys schedule. I ain't talking Dallas. We already got them 3-0 or 2-0.
Ooh.
And then they have a pretty favorable non-con to start off.
Yeah, they Wyoming at Akron. We're gonna go Wyoming. Then they host Northern Iowa, Wyoming. Host Utah, give me Utah. At Colorado, give me Colorado. And they have the bye.
That's an elevation game right there. 2 elevation game. Wyoming plays at the highest elevation in the country, and then obviously Colorado, big elevation too.
Brutal. Then they have the bye week. Then they come home, host UNLV and San Jose State. We got Wyoming winning both of those games. Then they are at Air Force. I think we got to go Air Force in that one.
I do too. I think Wyoming wouldn't put enough offense on the field, and Air Force is going to limit possessions.
Then they come home against Colorado State. You're going Wyoming? Okay.
Yeah, I just like a regression from Colorado State, a big-time fraud 8-win season last year.
Sure. Next week on the road against San Diego State, we'll go San Diego.
Okay.
And they have a bye, and then they're on the road at Fresno State in week 12.
Yeah, I mean, I just think big-time regression from Fresno this year, just really trying to figure out what their identity is as a team.
So we'll go Wyoming.
Yeah.
Then Wyoming hosts Nevada. We like the Cowboys there. And then the final week at Hawaii. Burns just clicked Hawaii. So we're going with Hawaii.
I mean, do you feel strongly the other way? I think Hawaii will definitely be Timmy Chang will definitely have some eyebrows raised after the season is complete.
Yeah, it seems like that program is headed in the right direction. So no problem with that.
7-5, 5-3 conference record, over under win total 5.5. So that one's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I like that. I like that over bet. And it feels like their schedule lines up fairly well for them, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely. Next up, we will talk about why not Fresno State. Last couple guys here on the first team, Alzillian Hamilton, incredible name.
Crazy name.
Okay. Can you still see the screen, Alex?
Yep, we got you.
All right, StreamYard is just barking at me here. And then Josiah Freeman, just a stud at wideout, is going to be able to at least create some offense for a team that I feel doesn't really have the full identity that they've had in years past. When we look at this team's schedule, there's Fresno. We already have Mo in 3, so can they get off the mat from 0-3 late in the season?
So they start the year at Kansas. We're going to go with Kansas. Then they host Georgia Southern. We're going Fresno. Week 3, they're at Oregon State. We're going to go Oregon State. Week 4, Fresno hosts Southern. That's a win. Week 5 at Hawaii. We'll go Hawaii. Then they have a bye, and then they come home to take on Nevada. We'll give Fresno a win there. Week 8 at Colorado State. We're going to go with the Rams. And then another bye in week 9. Week 10, they host San Diego State. What do you say?
Like Fresno off the bye, keep their season alive at that point. I think they just have some fight there.
Sure. Then they're at Boise State, loss, another bye week, and then they host Wyoming. Off the bye, we got Wyoming winning that one, and then Fresno hosts Utah State in week 14.
Yeah, this is a toss-up for me. Either way.
We'll go Utah State.
Okay.
Little momentum. And then final game of the year, we have Fresno losing to San Jose State.
Yeah, and they're over under 6.5, and we have them at 4-8. Listen, their returning rank in production is 8th in the conference. Recruiting ranked is 8 in the conference. They came in 4th in transfer rankings. It's a very middling performance in the offseason. I don't know. Something about this team just doesn't click for me.
Yeah, it doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence.
No, it really doesn't.
Mikey Keene isn't walking through those doors.
Yeah. Next up, Air Force. Listen, they've obviously got some hog mollies on both sides. First team, Alex Falk. Second team, Aiden Swartz. That's defense. And then third team, sprinkled all around offensive line, linebackers, defensive line. So names you're probably not going to be glued onto. But listen, like the other two academy schools, if you don't know this, there are no transfers in, there are only transfers out. So in this day and age, what the academies do and how they compete is even more impressive versus every other team that's playing on this landscape.
Yeah.
So when we look at Air Force, they're going to beat Bucknell to start. What do we got from there?
Then they have a bye, and then they are at Utah State.
It's early in the season. Air Force is the better team.
Okay. And then they host Boise State. We like Boise. And then they host Hawaii. What do you say?
Probably Air Force, but it's an interesting game.
For sure. Next week, they are at Navy.
That's Navy all the way.
Then we have Air Force losing to UNLV on the road, and then they're back at home, and we have them beating Wyoming. Then they have another bye in week 9, and then in week 10, we have Army versus Air Force.
I like Air Force. I think Army is the weakest of the 3 academy schools this year.
Okay. Week 11, Air Force losing to San Jose State. That's a road game for them. And then week 12, Air Force at UConn.
Yep. Air Force, and then they'll definitely take care of New Mexico.
And then they close the year at Colorado State.
Yeah. What do we think? I mean, this is a 7-4 team, 5-3 in the conference, or 4-3 in the conference.
If they're that good, if they end up being as good as we have them right now, I have them winning against Colorado State.
Yep, for sure. And that's a over under 5.5 wins from Vegas. Man, that might be a big time lock for a future there if we feel that strong about Air Force. 8 wins and you're spotting me 2 losses we didn't call?
Yeah, you seem to like this program. You think that they're going to be improved. They have a decent amount of, like, what would you call it? Building block players on the first, second, and third
Foundational.
team.
Yeah, foundational.
Yes, exactly. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, those types of players.
Yeah, and if you're not going to lack discipline on these teams, so it's one positive. And every 3 to 4 years you're going to have some strong teams, especially teams that might come out of nowhere. They definitely played better last year. We talked about how they were dead last in the country in returning production because everyone just graduated or transferred out from a strong Air Force program. So Troy Calhoun is just a really solid coach.
Yeah, and they were a pretty damn good team 2 years ago.
Exactly, and that's where they lose all that production last year. We think they're going to be a 3-win team, and they end up being a stronger team.
Right.
Next up, Timmy Chang, Fighting Rainbow Warriors. We got a first teamer, Nick Senecal, wide out. Listen, he's going to be a stud. This is a team that loves to sling it around the yard. And then Jamie Otis, Jamie, is that how you spell it?
Jamai.
And then Polafe Ashlock. So they got 2 wide receivers. That's first and second team. Listen, they're always going to be a question mark on defense. But offensively, I think this is a team that's going to be able to, maybe surprise some people. So when we look at their schedule specifically, we look at Hawaii. We've already decided 5 of their games, but favorable non-conference schedule at home.
I don't see the screen. There we go. Starting the year, hosting Stanford. Now that is interesting.
Yep. Stanford comes to the Big Island. Frank Reich, Andrew Luck.
Oof.
I think Hawaii upset here.
Okay, yeah, I'm down. Then Hawaii at Arizona. I got to go Zona.
Yep. Should beat
Hawaii,
Sam Houston State and Portland State.
yep. And then they beat Fresno in week 5, and then they lose to Air Force week 6. They have a bye, and then they come home and host Utah State. We'll go Hawaii. And then week 9 at Colorado State. I'll go Colorado State in that one. Kind of a weird game.
Yeah, I agree.
Bye week in week 10. Week 11, we have them losing to San Jose State on the road. Week 12, hosting San Diego State. Who do you got?
San Diego State on the road. Strong win late in the season.
All right. Another bye, and then we have Hawaii losing to UNLV in Vegas, and then final game of the year, hosting Wyoming. We have a Hawaii win to close the season.
Yep. So 6-6 for a team that's set at 5.5, right there on the line. Listen, they're 4th in returning production in the conference, but 10th and 11th respectively in recruiting and transfer portal. So, yeah, they're going to need to really rely on that returning production. And just kind of wrapping up here, a few other teams. Colorado State sprinkled a few names in there, linebackers and O linemen. But the one name, obviously, Braden Fowler Nicolosi, a guy that we talked about a lot last year, a little bit of higher expectations. Jay Norvell, I mean, listen, he's a really good coach. At some point, Colorado State, they'll want to get over that hump. So when we look at the Rams' schedule here, they had a weaker, one of the easiest schedules in the country last year. I think it might have been dead last in strength of schedule. So 8 wins last year might not be what it looks like this year. Washington's a tough hill to open up with on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Got to expect the Huskies, but should bounce back against Northern Colorado. UTSA, talked about them last week. This is an extremely interesting game. Really like the Roadrunners, but when you're trying to build a program, you got to win these games.
Yeah. Well, let's go UTSA then.
Okay.
Week 5, Colorado State hosting Washington State. We can give the Rams a win. Bounce back performance.
Interesting.
Week 6, Colorado State at San Diego State. We'll go with the Aztecs. And then we have them winning 2 games in a row against Fresno and Hawaii until losing to Wyoming on the road. And then they have a bye. We have UNLV beating Colorado State off the bye. And then week 12, we have Colorado State at New Mexico. We're going to go with Colorado State. And then week 13 and 14, we have 2 losses to Boise State and Air Force.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a tough schedule. Mountain West, all things considered, 5-7, having below their threshold at 6.5 wins, actually. So that's a pretty firm under on Colorado State. When we look at, we'll just stay here and go through the other ones because the rest of our, the last person that we have notably is Utah State's Bryson Barnes, aka the pig farmer, most notably. Great nickname. Dude is just as farm boy as they come. So when we look at Utah State, Bronco Mendenhall coming over, they are second. Where are they? Utah State is 3rd in recruiting this go around for the Mountain West, and then 9th in transfer ranking. So, and they have 12th. They're ranked 12th out of 12 when it comes to returning production. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but they're going to beat Stony Brook. Or wait, this is San Diego State. Where's our boys at?
Utah, number 9.
There we go. Utah, UTEP.
We'll go Utah.
And a weird game in College Station, but it's definitely Texas A&M.
Yep. And then week 3, we have Air Force beating Utah State. Week 4, we got Utah State beating McNeese. Week 5, we have Vanderbilt beating Utah State in Nashville. Week 6, it's a bye. And then week 7, lost to Hawaii. Week 8, win against San Jose State. Week 9, loss against New Mexico. Bye in Week 10. Week 11, we have them beating Nevada. And then Week 12, lost to UNLV. Bounce back and beat Fresno State, but then lose to Boise State to close their season.
5-7. I think that's respectable.
It's an improvement.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And then some of the let's go to San Diego State. Sean Lewis coming over from just a great job at Kent State, trying to build a more of a high-powered offense away from what they've done in years past. So obviously there's some growing pains, but when we look at what he's working with, he's got 5th in returning production, 2nd in recruiting in the conference, 6th in transfer rank. He's got guys there. He's got guys ready to go. It's just the quarterback position is the biggest question mark. Definitely the bottom third quarterback when it comes to Dangle. Sorry, butchering these names.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. That's all right, man. So they're going to beat Stony Brook to start the year, and then they're at Washington State. You like Washington State?
Yeah. Let's go Cougars.
All right, bye week, and then they host Cal.
I think it's Cal, Devin Brown.
All right. Former Ohio State quarterback. Week 5, San Diego State over Northern Illinois. Interesting. Week 6, they beat Colorado State. Week 7, they beat Nevada, and then a bye. And then they lose to Fresno. They beat Wyoming. They beat Hawaii. They lose to Boise. They beat San Jose State. And then their final game of the year is at New Mexico.
I think New Mexico gets another win here.
Okay.
7-5. Their over-under is 4.5. So that's a comfortable over again. We got a couple comfortable overs, couple comfortable unders, and then some of the worst teams in the conference. New Mexico. Where'd you go? Doesn't have favorable non-conference, so they're probably going to be stuck towards the bottom with the new head coach Jason Eck, but should be promising for the future of what he's trying to build there.
Sure. We got Michigan beating New Mexico in week 1. New Mexico should beat Idaho State in week 2.
We'll see, though.
We'll see. Losing to UCLA in week 3. Then they have a bye, and then we have them hosting New Mexico State in week 5, and we got New Mexico winning that one. Losing to San Jose State and Boise State, and then they play Nevada in week 8. Burns clicked Nevada, so we're going with Nevada. Week 9, beating Utah State. Week 10, lost to UNLV. Bye week, then a loss to Colorado State, a loss to Air Force, and then a win against San Diego State to close the year.
Yep. Then last team covers Nevada, and Juba Purdy's here. Obviously, Brock's younger brother, but they are just in the big question mark area. Bottom in returning rank, 10th. Decent recruiting cycle in 4th, but they need to find an identity as well, same like Fresno State. I like Juba Purdy a lot. I don't know if he has enough to put the team on his back.
Yeah, well, they're not going to beat Penn State to start the season.
Boy, that would be nice, huh?
That would be crazy. They're going to beat Sacramento State, we think, in week 2. But that's Mike Vick, right?
No, he's Norfolk.
Okay. And then they host Middle Tennessee. That's a weird game.
Yeah, for sure. Derek Mason definitely improving that team here in Murfreesboro. Heard an interesting tidbit. Did you see this? Basically went to the operations director and said, we're getting rid of all our alternative jerseys, all that shit. Freed up $1 million in spending so they could put that back into the NIL collective.
Wow. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee. It's going to be a tough year for Nevada.
What do we got them at? 2-10?
2-10. Their over-under is 3.5. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, just Western Kentucky, we were gushing about Maverick McIver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that team's just going to be too high-powered for Nevada. I don't know. Not a good look. I could see them maybe picking up wins against Fresno and possibly a big question mark UNLV team, but it's going to be a tough season.
Well, not everyone can be good.
Yeah, that's right. So basically, what it has us is a repeat of last year, Boise UNLV in the championship. We have a couple question marks on UNLV's schedule. So third place is currently tied with Air Force and San Diego State and Wyoming and San Jose State, all with 3 losses in the conference. Any of those flips from the UNLV perspective and head to head, they will take that over. So listen, the Mountain West, as we see it, is an open competition for that second place game, but we pretty much have Boise playing in the conference title. Is that safe to say?
Definitely. I think that's safe to say. It's just going to be interesting who's the team that ends up playing Boise in the conference championship game. And that seems to be fairly open with a number of teams being competitive and capable to do that.
Sure. And just a couple notes before we wrap up here. If we have Wyoming right there on the doorstep, they're 40-1 to win the conference. So if you think they can make it to the conference, I mean, you're fully capable of hedging from there, holding a 40-1 ticket, just making the conference, and you can do what you want from there. And then the other, we like Hawaii upside, 30-1 long shot. And then the 2 other teams. I mean, UNLV is 6-1. Basically, this conference, if you like anyone besides Boise to win that one game in conference championship weekend, you're going to have some nice odds sitting there for you.
True. Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, this isn't the most exciting conference in the world. I kind of feel like overall it's a little bit down this year in comparison to maybe some other years, at least as we head into the season. That's kind of my interpretation of the conference. Boise obviously is the class. It'll be interesting to see what this conference becomes moving forward with Boise departing. But hey, it's Boise State's last year in the Mountain West, so they're probably going to be looking to go out on a bang, and I expect them to Mike Breen that shit and do it.
Yeah, I mean, all the states are basically leaving. Colorado State, Fresno State, Oregon State, or they're already gone. San Diego State, and then Texas State coming in too. Basically, you have to be a state school to get into the Pac-12 now.
Yeah. No, that's it, man. A good breakdown. But yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Just going to be fun to watch these teams on our Mountain West after dark, especially San Jose State and San Diego State. But yeah, why don't we dive into some AAC next?
Sounds good. Thank you guys for checking us out and listening to the Mountain West College Football Preview.
All right, bye.